I'm Alex with Storyline Travel. Storyline Travel, we're family travel specialists, helping make memorable experiences through travel. In this video, we're going to look at the differences between our Royal Caribbean cruise and our Carnival cruise. Hi, we're really glad you're here. This year we've gotten back to sailing and we've had both a experience with Royal Caribbean and with Carnival Cruise Lines out of Galveston, Texas. And we want to share our experiences between the two cruise lines from beginning to end. Not necessarily a comparison of good or bad, just what was our experience in different areas. And that should help you decide, if you're choosing between the cruise lines, which one might be the best for you and your family. But before we get started, we ask, give us a like. I hope you enjoy this video and it gives you some good information. And subscribe below. You'll see us come out every week with different videos. And we'd like to let you know when we post new videos. This video, I'm going to begin before you even leave home. And that is with downloading the apps and using the apps for Royal Caribbean and Carnival. With Royal Caribbean, you'll find your app is very functional before you leave home. It is a great place to check in, get information. We used the app when we checked in on our cruise, and it gave us our go-to port time when we needed to check in. And it also generated our boarding pass there within the app. It was a digital barcode that we could use. For Carnival, what we found was that the app continued to point us to carnival.com, and that all of the check-in process that we did was more on the website, and the app wasn't as useful to us until we were connected to the ship's Wi-Fi. We did need to print a boarding pass at home on a piece of paper and present that boarding pass when we checked in. Getting to the port was similar in both experiences. Again, in Galveston, you need to plan ahead, make sure you have a reservation for your parking. They both have porters outside the terminals, and they're very strict right now on check-in times, and they, once your time is there, then your party goes through. They check your boarding pass, your passport, or photo ID, and birth certificate, and get you through security. A lot of that's the same because it is immigration, and at that point, immigration, TSA, getting you through, or a similar type of security to make sure you're not bringing on anything prohibited, and getting you to the reception area. Now, with Royal Caribbean, once we checked in, we went straight onto the ship. We checked in, we went upstairs. They actually boarded us according to the times that we had to show up. So while we went through a waiting room, we never waited to board the ship. We went through security, through reception, got all checked in, went up to the gangway and scanned our app, and then went right on board the ship. In addition, we had the option to watch a safety video for the mustering on the app, either before we got to the terminal or once we got on board the ship. And so once we got to our mustering station, all we had to do was verify that we had done the video and that we had checked in with the muster station to know where it was. Again, Royal Caribbean was really good about asking if we had children or those that needed special assistance, and we were given an armband at their recommendation. With Carnival, we, after going through the reception area, we actually went to a waiting area and were given a boarding group. And we had to wait 15 or 20 minutes before we were allowed to board the ship. Once we boarded the ship, we were directed to our muster station, in which we gathered with about 20 people to see a muster presentation by a crew member and then sign off that mustering had been done, and then we were on our way. Let's take a look at the dining options on board. With Royal Caribbean, you had access to the main dining room, you had access to their Lido Deck buffet, the Windjammer, and then you had access to a small cafe on Deck 5, Cafe Promenade. These were all included in your cruise fare. There were 3 specialty dining venues available that were an upcharge to enjoy those locations. I found the main dining area to be more formal, a bit quieter as you were dining. You did have the option of a fixed early dining or fixed late dining, or dining on your own time. However, if you did choose, when you wanted to dine, you did need to check in. It was there was one dining room that was on 3 decks, and they squeezed you in where they could. On Carnival, in addition to the main dining area, you did have the Gathering, which was their Lido Deck buffet. You had Guy's Burger, you had Blue Iguana for Mexican food, burritos and tacos. You had the pizzeria. On sea days, you had access to the pasta bar, you had access to Peg and Anchor. And so there were a few more options available to you on Carnival. However, Royal Caribbean had their main dining area open for lunch most days, and Carnival did not provide that option. So let's talk about activities. With Carnival, you did have your pools. You had multiple hot tubs. There were hot tubs in many locations. With Royal Caribbean, you found most of the hot tubs were surrounded by the pools, and the pools were separated to more of a family style pool and then a adult only area pool in the solarium. As far as other activities, Carnival had 18-hole mini golf. They had a full basketball court available to us. They did have a jogging track that was an option. They had a foosball table. Ping pong tables were available. A nice fitness center and a nice spa available to us as well. They did have an adult only area. However, it only had 2 hot tubs and no swimming pool. There were 4 water slides available to us, and 2 that were racing slides side by side, fairly short but really fast, and 2 more twisting slides. And yes, I did do all 4 slides on the Carnival Dream. With Royal Caribbean, you did have a few more of sporting activities. So you do have the Flow Rider available on Adventure of the Seas. You had a rock wall that you could climb, a 9-hole mini golf course. There were multiple ping pong tables available. I mentioned the 2 pools and the hot tubs. There were less hot tubs available. You had 2 areas for slides, one that was more of the adventure slide, and then a smaller subset of slides and splash area for the little ones. I did not get a chance to experience the slides on Royal Caribbean, so I think that's a miss. I need to go back and have the opportunity to do that. There was basketball courts available. So a lot of activities on Royal Caribbean, I would say a lot more. And then the one thing that Royal Caribbean had that was very unique to their cruise line was an ice rink. As far as activities, one of the things I would point out different between the 2. So Carnival, most of your activities started later in the afternoon, and many of the shows and evening entertainment started later, maybe 9 or would start later and go late into the night. With Royal Caribbean, we found that a lot of the entertainment started earlier, more in the 7 to 7:30 range, and was fairly wrapped up by 10 o'clock. So this speaks to, how do you like to travel? What does your family enjoy? Do you like to turn in a little earlier? Do you like to stay up later? Not good or bad, just to be aware. We found Royal Caribbean started their activities earlier, but they also ended them earlier. And then we'll wrap up with talking about the debarkation process. So with Royal Caribbean, we were asked on our app approximately what time we would like to leave the ship. We were given four generic times. Immediately after hitting to the port, an 8 o'clock to 8:30 time frame, an 8:30 to 9 time frame, and then after 9 time frame. And once we selected that, then the night before we got back to Galveston, we had luggage tags on our bed that we could use to put on our luggage that would be taken down to customs. You didn't need to do that if you picked that first time. You could say, I'm taking my luggage with me. And then one thing about Royal Caribbean is the day that you came into Galveston, once you left your room, you were locked out of your room no matter what time it was. So if you didn't have somebody that was in there, once you left, you were stuck, you were out. With Carnival, the day before we got to Galveston, they did announce that if you wanted to leave, on the early side and with your luggage, you could keep your luggage and you would be called by muster station to exit. If you wanted to have your bags checked into customs, then you could go down to deck 5 starting at noon that day before we got there, got back to Galveston, and you could pick up a tag to either do an early or a late checkout. This was the first time I had left with Carnival, and so we decided to go down and get tags. We went down around 1:30, and by that point we were picking up tags in group 21. What we found was that after breakfast, it took well over an hour to an hour and a half for Carnival to go through all of the muster stations before they got to those of us that had tags. It took actually at least an additional hour, maybe hour and a half, to get off the Carnival ship compared to Royal Caribbean. However, Carnival did allow us to come in and out of our rooms until 8:30. And at 8:30 was when they asked us to be completely out of our staterooms for them to turn over. So I think given the opportunity with Carnival, next time I might take my luggage with me and go by my muster station, just because it is such a long time for them to go through all the muster stations and get the folks who kept their luggage with them getting off the ship. So those were our experiences and some of the differences between sailing with Royal Caribbean and sailing with Carnival. Both were quite enjoyable. Both have their pros and cons in our experience. And I'm curious, what are your thoughts? Who do you like sailing with? Is it Carnival and the fun ship, or do you enjoy the adventure of Royal Caribbean? Let us know below. Are you Royal Caribbean or are you Carnival? And at Storyline Travel, we believe every adventure is a story waiting to be told.